Alright, what is up, folks? So, Mother's Day is coming up on this weekend. So, I thought the best topic to discuss before Mother's Day weekend is the topic of abortion. Ooh, I know I'm going to trigger a lot of people, especially the modern day feminists. But it is extremely important to discuss this topic because I come from the country that has performed the most abortions in history. Well, you can say that, well, China has a massive population, but even in terms of abortions per capita, China is right up there on top of the world, way ahead of the US. Between 1980 to 2015, during China's 35 years of the one-child policy, China roughly performed 300 million abortions. So in comparison, that's about 9 million abortions per year. In the United States, there are roughly 1 million abortions per year. Well, China has roughly 4 times as many people. So even in terms of abortions per capita, China's abortion rate is still much higher than the United States. And why are there so many abortions? Well, the number one most obvious reason is because of the one-child policy. And there's something else that's extremely disturbing, okay? Ladies, you have to hear this, okay? I really want you to stay until the end of this video. I mentioned about the dating game, right? The reason why it is so rough as an Asian male. And here's the thing. If you're like myself, okay? If you're born in China and if you're either generation Gen Z or millennial, the dating game for a Chinese male is going to be almost impossible. Do you guys want to know why? It is because right now it's estimated that there are roughly 40 million excess men living in China, especially as you go down the age groups. If you go down to babies born after 1980, that's when the Chinese Communist Party introduced the one-child policy. So how can there be way more men versus women? Two things. Number one, gender selective abortion. And option number two, which is much worse than option number one, which is child and infant infanticide, okay? And also, here's my view on abortion, okay? I don't think it should be banned, because if you were to ban abortion, women would still get abortion done. But however, now they don't have the option to take the pill or go to the clinic. They will probably have to go to some black market, which is 10 times more dangerous. However, one thing I have to say is that abortion is a female privilege. What do I mean? Okay, let's say if I had a girlfriend, right? We were sexually active, but I was always using protection. I was using a condom. Condom is roughly 97% effective. There's still a chance that your girl can still get pregnant. Let's say, okay, I had a girlfriend that got pregnant, and I told her that I don't want to keep this baby, and she disagrees with me. So during dinner, I slip an abortion pill into her drink. She takes it, and she loses the baby. Do you know what's going to happen? I'm going to be arrested, and I'm going to be charged with first-degree murder, okay? However, if my girl tells me that, you know what, I don't want this baby, I'm going to get rid of it because I don't think we're at that place we're ready to start a family. So I'm going to get a pill from the hospital and I'm going to take the pill. I'm going to abort this baby. If a woman does that, everybody on social media is going to be cheering for her. They say, oh, well done, good for you. This is crush the patriarchy. This is 2024 top class feminist. You got to protect a woman's sexual reproductive rights. If I decide to get rid of the baby, it's first-degree murder. If my girl decides to get rid of the baby, then it's not even worth the ice cream bar, okay? That's the difference. I'm just telling you. And ladies, if you don't want to get to the point of abortion, well, it's very simple. Right now in Canada, for example, there are 41 methods of birth control you can use as a female, okay? All offered to you for free, okay? You can ask that guy to wear the condom, which is 97% effective. You can even ask the guy to pull out, which is roughly 80% effective. And if none of this really works, okay, listen, you can't get pregnant if you keep your legs closed. I'm just saying, okay? Here's the thing though, okay, with the gender selective abortion, if you're wondering why the Chinese do this, it's because some of these Chinese people, listen, they're 100% brain dead and retarded. I'm sorry, this is 100% evil. See, the thing is, right, for most women out there, you don't find out you're pregnant until the baby is at least 2 months old. And most of the time, you cannot find out about the sex of the baby until it is at least, I would say, 3 to 6 months old? I would say 3 months at the earliest. Let's look at this picture, okay? So this is a fetus at 3 months old, okay? The fetus has a spine, has facial structures, has all 4 limbs intact. Now, why would so many Chinese parents choose to abort these female fetuses? Well, once again, it comes back to Confucius. This is an ancient custom that's been passed down for thousands of years in China, okay? The number one devotion you have to your family is to pass down your bloodline. Most importantly is that you have to give birth to a son. And to a certain extent, this is pure evil. Oftentimes, when these Chinese parents, because back then you could only have one child, when you find out that it's going to be a girl, many of them would choose this method to get rid of the baby girl. By the time the fetus is at least 3 months old, it's no longer possible to just take the pill. So what do? You go to the abortion clinic, and this method is called dilation and extraction. First of all, your cervix has to be opened up, okay, to roughly a minimum of 10 centimeters. Then the doctor is going to come in. He's going to take a pair of clamps. These are called sulfur clamps, okay? The next part is going to be very disturbing. The doctor takes the pair of these sulfur clamps. He will start with the limbs. He will grab the fetus's leg. He will crush it to pieces. Then he pulls out the legs. The left leg, the right leg, the left arm, then the right arm. Then the next part is the baby's torso. At this point, the fetus is still alive. And you can see the fetus grimacing and struggling while it's trying to get away from these pairs of clamps. Then once again, these sulfur clamps, they go in. The doctor grabs the torso of the baby, then the doctor pulls the torso out of the cervix. And lastly, it's the head, which is oftentimes way too big to pass through the cervix. Okay, even when the cervix is dilated. The doctor takes these clamps and goes in for the one last time. Because the baby's head is too big, the doctor has to use 2 hands to crush the head multiple times. It's basically like a meat grinder. And finally, pieces of the head and their brain are extracted one piece at a time. And all of this, when it's said and done, every piece of the fetus is thrown into a trash bag and disposed. And if you just look at the number of excess males in China, okay, born between 1980 to 2015, it's probably safe to say that this method was practiced anywhere between 30 to 40 million times. Sometimes I do think that humans do deserve to go extinct. And by the way, this is not even the worst of it. The dilation and extraction is mostly performed in the cities. If you live in the extreme poor rural area where there are no hospitals or medical clinics nearby, where you cannot get this procedure done, and you can't get a sonogram to tell the sex of your baby, you only find out when the baby is born. So what do the Chinese parents do then? If they found out during the birth that they're getting a Chinese girl, what will happen oftentimes is that, I'm sorry, I gotta take a pause here because this is going to be brutal. So what happens next? It's called gender selective child infanticide. And the easiest way for these parents to do it is one hand over the mouth. This way the baby cannot scream as you're crushing its windpipe. So it goes something like this. One hand here, the other hand here, to completely crush the windpipe of the baby. This method, hard to say how many times it was done. I would say anywhere between 5 to 10 million times. And all of these was done on Chinese female babies. This is why there are 40 million excess Chinese males from my generation, which is the millennial, and on to the next generation, which is the Gen Z. The dating game for a modern Chinese male is almost impossible. With the rise of immigration and globalization, all these interracial dating and passport bros, so many Asian females are being selected, combined with the fact that there are 40 million excess men in China. It's really getting to the point where I wonder, will I end up dying alone? Because for so many of these Chinese males, that is the inevitable reality. Because the numbers simply don't add up. It doesn't matter what you do.